There are obviously different components that you're already familiar with, and maybe you're also familiar with the Youth Apprenticeship Program. That is a state of Wisconsin, a very structured program. We had success with a couple of students here, Kevin Dewar a few years ago, and then Dakota Caldwell. Both are still at Direct Supply, still enrolled in school. I believe Kevin is graduating this year, and Dakota's at Concordia as well. For our STEM Partners meeting in May, they are both geared up to speak for, well, Dakota for a second time. Kevin was not available, so we're hoping to have both of them representing Washington High School and what happens when students do participate in the work-based learning activities that are available to them here at Washington High School. When I first met Dakota, and we have been working very closely with a couple of the teachers and kind of coming into the classrooms pretty regularly. And by the time it was time for preparing for some real interviews, I asked Dakota if he wanted to participate. And he says, I've been waiting since freshman year for you to ask me this. So that's how systematic it used to be. And we want to try to bring that back in where the students recognize, I've gone to I-fairs where I know you, I've seen you. That's what we want. We want the students to see us on a regular basis and see us as a resource, and we want you to see us as a resource. And that's why we put together the booklet for you. There's lists of our partners, our business partners, as well as the MPS resources, as well as some of our members that represent other community-based opportunities. So I'm going to be serving as a liaison, as a clearinghouse for that. So if you need a speaker, or you want to organize a job shadow, or you want some more regular activities going on in your classroom, you can contact me, and then I can reach out to the appropriate board member and get that happening for you. We want to make this easier for you to use these huge myriad of resources that are available to you, and I think they're very underused at this time. So we really want to get the word out and encourage you to make good use of them, and this is a starting point today.
Regular businesses. And when I worked at Harley-Davidson, that's why I have a passion for this, is because when I worked at Harley-Davidson, the students that came in to get a job, they did not have good interviewing skills. So what I did right after I found out it was just not students from any particular school, all the schools that they came in from, they were lacking interviewing skills. So what I said to them, and they had good grades, and I said, I bet you can do this job. This is what I want you to do. When you come in, I want you to give a firm handshake. I want you to speak when people speak to you. I want you to be courteous. I want you to smile. I want you to talk and do your job. Guess what? All of them passed. All of them. I gave them an opportunity to come into Harley-Davidson. They worked. They did well. They made money. And they left there with Harley-Davidson on their resume. So all I'm saying is, if we can get started with this kind of process in the schools, when they go to the businesses, they'll be ready. They'll be more prepared. Well, I don't know what's happening at Harley-Davidson now. I'm not there to coach them right on the spot. I'm not there to say, I bet you can do this. And that's what the students want. They want someone who believes, who does believe that they have the skills to do what they need to do. And that's why we, as an advisory board, are here to do that, to partner with you to make sure that the students at Washington High School are successful. So we do have someone who's in business, have had students come in to their business, and they can tell us what kinds of things they're looking for. So that's what Tony's going to do.
Sure. We, on a regular basis at Abernathy, we have interns from colleges, and we have a program where we're constantly interviewing them, teaching them, training them. In fact, here comes Miss Abernathy now. We can probably shed some more light on this. But we really pride ourselves in teaching the students how to conduct business, how to act, how to answer the phone, how to talk, the type of information that you need to get when you're on the phone, to be able to speak firmly, where you clearly, I mean, some of the students are kind of shy on the phone. One of the things that we did in our last candidate that we brought in is during the interview, we had them talk on the phone and do a real call, and just to see how they would do. Would they panic and say, "Oh, I don't want to do that," or would they just say, "Yeah, give me that phone, I'll talk. What do you want me to say? What do you want me to do?" This individual did, and we consequently ended up hiring this individual. But it's really important that the kids really understand how to conduct themselves in the business world. Saying certain slang, we get rid of that. Another thing that we do, because we're dealing with kids and they're in the business world, a lot of times they're not given respect when they're talking to our vendors or clients. So one of the things that we do is we address everyone by Mr. and Mrs. And that sets a tone of respectfulness in the office and when we're dealing with people, our customers and vendors. Anything else you want to add, Edna? We're just basically just going over. This is. I'll introduce, or you introduce yourself. Actually,
I'm Edna Abernathy. I am the president of ER Abernathy Industrial, and I guess he told you we're in industrial safety.
Not yet.
Oh.
There's two companies. Abernathy Consulting. I was talking about specifically.
Right. A distribution company and an IT company located in Waukesha, and just those soft skills of really how to present yourself as a business professional is probably the most critical skill that you really do need, that kids just don't get, either at home or in school or whatever. Yep. The image, they don't get the image kind of thing.
Yeah, dress, very important.
Yes.
Too.
Absolutely.
Proper dress. So, I think that's about it. But we're looking forward to working and helping anything that we can do to help you all with your students. We're here to help.
Very good, thank you. And that's what we're going to do now. What we're going to do is we're going to take those employability skills and we're going to divide them up in 6 different areas. And you can look on your sheet that you have in front of you from your folder. So the first area is ethics and integrity. And if you have on your sheet your agenda, if you have at the top of your agenda, if it says group 4 or group 3 or group 2 or group 1, that's the group that you will be in for this discussion. And so for group 1, it will be ethics and integrity. Group 2, appropriate communications and courtesy. Group 3, professional attire and composure. Group 4, attendance and punctuality. Group 5, team player and group participation. Group 6, work habits and soft skills. So what we're going to do is we're going to answer the questions that are on the agenda. We're going to look at those questions as a group, and we're going to come up with some ideas to present when we come back for the group report outs. So here's what's going to happen. We will have 1 advisory board member, or maybe 2, in a group that is there to facilitate the process, to make sure everyone participates and have a say into what's going on. Then you're going to write down whatever your thoughts are on a Post-it note, and then you're going to put that Post-it note on one of these sheets. Yes, because it's catching everything.
Very sticky.
Yes, it is. And you're going to put that Post-it note under one of these areas after you've discussed what we're talking about in the groups about the employability skills. Then you're going to come back to the table and actually talk about those things, those ideas that you put down on those Post-it notes.
Just want to clarify, the Post-its are for everyone. It's kind of a brainstorming. You don't put your name on it or anything, and then just put them up on the paper, and then you're going to discuss it. The idea is so that everybody has input, and that you don't have to worry about what, you can say honestly what you think and then put it up there, and then you're going to discuss it as your small group.
Absolutely, because we want you to be open and honest without fear that your name will be on. We do not want you to put your name on the Post-it note. Just put it up here. Okay, after we call time, then we're going to present only new ideas. Let's say group one gives some ideas on what they came up with. We're going to only do a couple of those because we're going to take all of those Post-it notes and we're going to transcribe the information and share that information with you at a different session where we will talk about those things. And we're also going to be coming back in 6 weeks to see what kinds of things have worked, what kinds of things have been implemented, and what you need from us to help make this process successful. So, we're going to get into our groups, look at the top of your agenda, and those of us who are facilitating the process, we will be meeting you at a table.
So how do you use PBAS in the class, or how does it work in the class? 5 positives for each negative. And modeling appropriate behavior. So I'm about sure that just about every teacher is trying to model appropriate behavior. As far as how would we use this employability skill in the class, teachers teach them how to cite references and sources so that they're avoiding plagiarism. And as far as upholding honesty, asking students to explain their work or demonstrate how they did it instead of just providing answers. That's a way to show that they actually know what they're talking about and they're not just writing anything down. And we didn't get to discuss this exactly what we wanted to say about the way to reward them. So, a couple ideas.
Our employability skill, using it in the classroom, we talked a lot about having skits, acting out appropriate behaviors in communication and acting out inappropriate communication, modeling what will surely not get you a job.
PBIS work in the class, talking about just, keeping the students calm, dressing respectfully. Some of the ladies get their tops down a little bit too low. We did a lesson on bullying, and we thought, well, that kind of tied in with the whole respectful atmosphere and that type of thing. Professional attire day. So like every Friday or certain days, we could have a professional attire day where everyone's going to dress like a casual Friday, but business attire. I'm sorry?
Field trip.
Yes, and we could tie that in with field trips. So why would we want to be able to dress appropriately? If we're going to go to a particular place of business, we could require the students to dress appropriately for that business. And the reward is, if you're not going, or if you're not dressing appropriately, if you dress appropriately, you get to go on the field trip. If you don't get to go. So that kind of tied in with rewards. Track and just kind of track and reward with popcorn, nachos, again, pizza thing. We've got the Washington Purgolder Bucks, which ties in with various things. So you could kind of just maybe keep a checklist in your classroom kind of thing.
I don't think I need to reiterate here the importance of respecting one another if you are within a group. So we'll just go on to our second point, which was how would you use this employability skill in the class? And Mr. Harrow discussed a lot about the products he creates in his video tech class and his newspaper class. So of course, students have to be able to share their ideas regarding special effects, transitions, and soundtracks in video technology class. And then lastly, how would you reward students for practicing or using these skills, ultimately getting to a finished product is the goal in the video tech class and the newsletter in the classroom where they design the newsletter. So students would successfully be able to broadcast the presentation. And for most of our students, we find a lot of our kids are really outgoing, so being the person that gets to broadcast a presentation would be a reward.
We also thought that taking them to an office where the employability skill atmosphere pervades would be the best way for them to understand the value of all these employability skills and how they play out in the business setting.
Very good.
How we could use it in class. We talked a lot about just keeping high expectations for students in terms of deadlines and being prepared with supplies and whatnot, and organization skills. So whether that be minors or other types of organization. And then how we could reward students.
But we want buy-in for the employability skills, because this is not a game, this is real life. And as Terry was saying, we not only want the students to do it after school, we want to do it while they're in school. And in fact, we're working with a group of students now. I know that Ms. Adair is working with a group of students. We're going to take that same group. And I heard many times that people were saying, take them into a business where they can see this being taken place. That's what we're going to do. We want to have 2 sessions with them each month. 1 session at Washington, the other session at a business, so they can see how business operates. And Ms. Edna Abernathy has already given us the okay that we can bring a group of students to her business, so they can see how business works day by day. And you know, I was sharing with Ms. Abernathy and Tony here, when I was in school, I wish we had had that. Because you know what? I understand where the students are. When you're in class every day and all you're doing is listening to what people are saying rather than being hands-on and practical, you're like, there's nothing else other than the classroom. I'm never going to do anything else. We want to get them out of that mold so they can see there is something else that you can do. And not only is there something else, but we want you to do it. And guess what? You can do it. So that's what we're all about. Now, we also have...
Excuse me a minute.
Yes.
When Dorothy came to our business advisory board, brand new, I was embarrassed because she came to the board, she said, these kids need structure. They need to know how to come into a business. They need to know what to do, how to do, and some things that they should know that they didn't know. And I was embarrassed. I was kind of slinking in my seats. Oh, man, she's right. But she came to the business board the first year. I don't know how many years ago, we won't say. But she came in saying these kids need this. That's why she's so passionate about it. And as a teacher, I was embarrassed because I wasn't doing any of these things in the classroom. Shaking the kids' hand, making them sit up straight, the BBBs, all that stuff. I said, oh yeah, that makes sense to start applying it in the classroom. Start learning it now. They may know it, but in the classroom, they should start showing it. I'm sorry.
No, that's good, because that's what we want to do. Now we have Desiree who's going to talk about what was successful in Washington High School to help her to be successful where she is now, as well as Tony.
I'll make sure I mention your name, Mr. Ben.
Yes,
just real quick, and please excuse me, I will, when I'm done, I will leave for number 4, attendance and punctuality. I do have somewhere else to be, and I want to be there on time, so I will need to leave immediately when I'm done. But what I will say about Washington High School is that if it wasn't for the teachers, my counselors, you know, with a collaborative effort, I believe all of those things made me who I am today. I definitely say that I was given the space to be a leader as a student. So I was able to have the opportunity to be involved heavily as a leader in student government with peer mentoring. And I know some of these things, whether they're going on now and they're under a different name or not going on at all, I believe that every teacher in this room has the opportunity to give students a space to be leaders and to be able to groom students to be leaders, so much so that what they do becomes like outbreak with other students. And I think that what I experienced as a student, all it did was help other students, you know, see that they could, you know, achieve some level of success, even though some kids that really want to do something with their lives when they leave here. And I believe I'm a testament of that. I believe the friends that I've graduated with and are very successful people now that would be more than willing to come to a classroom to talk to students would attest to that same thing, that there are successful students that you can have an opportunity to implement something into. So just wanted to encourage you on that note, and I will be leaving.
I know you guys have heard from Tony. You can see what kinds of things are going on in his life. Our time is up, and we need to make sure that you get out of here on time. But I promise you, we will be coming back to talk with you before that 6-week period when we're going to have our gathering again. Okay? Thank you so much for your time.